Hello again, and welcome to Somerset Sports, a presentation of Somerset County Recreation Parks and Tourism. I'm Gary, that's Jack.
Hello.
We've been with you a couple times now, and I hope you're enjoying what you see. If you are, give us a like on Facebook, on YouTube, and subscribe. We'd like to see who you are, and if you have any comments as we go through this, and you want to be a part of it, you can shoot me an email at ghicks@somersetmd.us. All right, today we're deep in the heart of basketball.
Yes.
My favorite time of the year is the NCAA tournament.
Is it?
Yeah, that's even more so than football, than the Super Bowl. The next couple of weeks are my favorite sporting time. I think it's a great sporting event.
Yeah. Are you watching any of the small tournaments?
I've
The
been
smaller
checking
school
in on a
dramas?
few things,
Yeah.
watching here
It's
and there.
all day, every day.
Oh yeah, these things.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
because the conference
unbelievable.
tournaments are starting early,
Yeah.
and we'll get to some of those small schools because I know you
I'm
kind of watch.
all over it now.
Yeah,
Man,
you watch
it's
those smaller ones.
Maddening, as we were just speaking about how the games can end, and for various and sundry reasons, as most of us know, we watch basketball for the entertainment value, but this other elements of the sports betting is making it even more interesting. So
Let's
but
start
there's some
out.
great ball being played.
There is, and let's start out with the Big Ten.
All right.
Maryland having a solid year.
Yeah.
I think better than expected with first-year head coach.
Absolutely way better than yeah. The head coach has
And-
turned out to be quite the motivator.
Yeah.
And, the players are doing.
And I've
doing
seen them
better.
play. They played some good games. Then they'll have a
Little
clunker in there.
inconsistent. Yeah.
But I think that's true for this whole basketball season this year.
Well, there's a couple teams that are outright maybe one half a level above the rest of them.
Right.
But the Big Ten, especially, any team beating any team.
It's very competitive.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it
Some
is.
of the games. Ohio State, they're in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, I don't want to
They,
talk about
they,
that.
they win when you just can't even believe they can even be in the game. And they actually, Minnesota came and won a couple games. And,
Yeah,
Indiana's favored today to beat Maryland, but I think that's going to be
could be a good game.
a tough one. And
Yeah,
Maryland's got some pretty good inside guys that can make it happen.
Yeah,
And,
so- and I have to bring this up. Wisconsin Badger fan,
yeah,
born and raised in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
They played their way into the NIT.
so they did.
I think so.
Yeah.
They were like, for the last couple of weeks, it was always, last four in.
Yeah,
And they lost to that Ohio State team,
right.
which I thought wasn't going to be a good matchup anyway for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Ohio State's playing really well right now.
What is
so,
it? What happened?
Dan,
What button did they turn on?
well,
These are the things that you just don't know.
in my opinion, Wisconsin may be one of the poorest shooting teams
Well, that happens.
in the country.
Yeah.
And there's nobody who's that guy.
Yeah,
They don't have that guy this year.
yeah.
So
You need
I
those
think
guys to
they'll-
hit those outside shots.
yeah.
That's for sure.
And you need a go-to guy. And I
Yeah.
don't know if Wisconsin,
Has it?
they got 3 or 4 guys who you could go to, but they don't have the one guy who is probably
Right.
going to make the shot or
Right.
come close to the shot. So they had a chance. They had a lot of good returning players. I don't think they got much better this year. I think they kind of peaked.
Such a tough
and stayed
conference.
there. It is. It
I
is.
mean, the depth and
Yeah.
the way it's played, the beat 'em up kind of ball,
And that's why you'll see a Big Ten team they're like 20-11,
yeah.
but those 11 losses they beat up on each other during
Oh
the
yeah,
conference.
right.
So
see the
it
in-conference
doesn't look
records,
as bad.
like,
Yeah, it
wow.
doesn't look as bad because
Yeah.
they're playing each other.
Yeah.
Usually there's 5 or 6 of them in the top 25.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, I always
so-
thought when Maryland left the ACC to go to the Big Ten that it would be an interesting transition from ACC basketball to the Big Ten style basketball because
Right.
and then, does that really is the chicken and the egg? Is it the style is there, so you're going to have to go play that way? Well, apparently it is because
Yeah.
Maryland plays much more physically than I remember them playing or having
Right.
to play. And the ACC was more about plays and running plays and picks and
Right.
all that stuff and moving the ball around. And then, of course, now with the 3-point, there's there's a lot of outside shooting from that, but like throwing it down inside and just elbowing your way to
Yeah.
the basket and all
And-
that. It's
and-
been an interesting transition for them.
The Big Ten usually there's one or two teams that have a dominant big guy,
Yeah,
just like it is this year with Edie at Purdue. That guy's that's one huge man.
he's a big
Yeah.
dude.
And
He's not very well. I should say athletic. He's very athletic. I heard he played. Is it true he played hockey? He must have been a real tall hockey player.
yeah,
But maybe he just hadn't grown at that point, and he just got to a point where he couldn't play
Right.
the normal sports. That
Yeah.
Basketball was his only option. But Purdue it was looking like they were going to dominate,
yes,
and then they ran into some losses, surprisingly. But I guess if you shut him down, then you can win.
yeah.
And
But there's not a lot of other teams that have that big guy.
that can shut. A
But
guy
if you
like
if
that,
you
yeah.
can use your quickness against him, that might help
Yeah.
too. But yeah, they were for a long time number one in the country.
They were.
And I thought they might stay up there. Right now, they're number 5
Yeah.
in the AP poll.
They won by 5 today, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So they did win.
So, but I look at the AP poll, and you see Houston, UCLA, Kansas, and Alabama.
Yeah.
And those are probably going to be the top 4 seeds.
Right.
Houston probably going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Which means that Purdue is number 5. They would be, if they stay this way, Houston, UCLA, Kansas, Alabama.
Right.
That means Purdue will be the number 2 seed in the Alabama
Right.
bracket.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm Alabama if I want that.
No.
They're led by an outstanding freshman,
No, that's true.
and they've had some
They've had some issues.
issues to say the least, and he's somewhat entangled in those, but
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
I don't know.
So I'm not going to
It's one of those
speculate
funny
what they're
things
going to
because
do.
2 weeks ago it was hot news.
Yeah,
And now that news cycle
yeah,
just seems to cool off, and it's not maybe front and center like it will be once the tournament starts,
Yeah.
potentially. But it's how Alabama's handling this.
yeah.
We're number 2.
And again,
we don't need any problems here.
and this is
Keep your mouth shut.
this is the kind of year for me. I've probably watched more basketball earlier in the season than I have lately.
Yeah.
But you look at it and you're like, where are the blue bloods?
Well, yeah.
You know, it's that kind of year. UCLA, I guess you would call it blue
Yeah.
blood.
Mhm. Kansas too.
Kansas definitely.
Yeah.
So
And
they're in the top 5.
Yeah.
Gonzaga, who's been good,
They've been good.
they
They're
are
cruising along.
ninth.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then you look at Duke is 21.
Duke's coming on.
They're playing well right now.
Yep.
Kentucky's 23, but there's like no Villanova.
Yeah. Nova's.
They've struggled this year.
They've struggled, but I wouldn't want to play them
Yeah,
because they can find a way to beat you, but they don't have quite the talent level, and they're just not putting the points on the board like they needed to.
Yeah.
Or need to. But,
and the one thing I have to admit, and I'm in Maryland country. I'm a huge Duke fan.
are you?
Huge Duke
Yeah.
fan. It's been different this year
Yeah.
with Krzyzewski gone.
Right. They had a real slow start.
Yeah, I'm not
And-
sure. Shire was a great recruiter because he had the number 1 recruiting
Yeah.
class coming in. That was his recruiting. That wasn't Krzyzewski's.
Yeah.
Because he had already announced he was leaving.
Right.
So Shire brought those kids in.
Right.
You know, they had like the number
It's a young
1,
team.
the number 2,
Yeah.
the number 7 pick. And
I heard they haven't lost at home.
he went undefeated at home
That's
for the
pretty
whole
impressive.
season. Yeah.
First
And-
year. That's
Yeah.
in front of Krzyzewski. I think probably went to all the games. So
Well, actually,
maybe
he
not.
One.
You only went to one.
He only went to
Oh.
1.
See,
And
I'm
that was,
uninformed.
he didn't want to be involved
Oh,
and
yeah,
take
have
the
that
spotlight
presence.
away from
Wow.
the players and from Shire.
Right. Let
Um,
him establish his own.
Right. Now, I'm
Thing.
sure he was in his office watching him on TV.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, I'm sure he was in.
You got to
the
wonder
building.
about a guy like that. That's his whole life
Yeah.
was that.
Yeah.
Being in the office and dealing with the kids. How much of an adjustment it obviously was, and then how
Yeah.
he dealt with it, and Is he having any fun? You know,
Yeah.
is retirement a good thing for him?
Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of names I want to bring up. One of them is why he was there.
Yeah.
He went to the Notre Dame game. Mike Bray, the Notre Dame coach, announced he's done
Oh,
at Notre. He says at Notre Dame.
Oh.
He's done at Notre Dame at the end of this year.
oh,
And he was a long-time Krzyzewski assistant.
okay.
So he went to that Notre Dame Duke game.
Oh, you did?
So,
Interesting.
yeah. So, again, we are going to put our brackets out there. We'll make them once the brackets come out.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to send me their brackets, again, ghicks@somersetmd.us. You can email them to me.
We're going to have a
Will?
bracket contest on our website for the golf course.
Okay.
It's being,
So there's another way to get involved.
being promoted, so we can do it
Yeah.
that way.
So if you want to send me your bracket, we'll go and we'll see.
Hey,
You
this year you might just throw darts at it. You might do just fine because
And if you
any team can beat any team.
And if you're local, bring your bracket in. And if you want to come and sit on this, we'll probably do this again in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah,
When the tournament is in, it
in
would
motion.
probably be
Yeah.
the end of the,
Well, the 12th.
just about the end of the second
The
week.
12th
It'll be the
is,
middle of the
is
second
when
week.
they announce the bracket, and then
That'll come out Sunday.
the 15th, 16th,
Yeah.
that Thursday is when they start on the
Yeah.
16th. So
Yeah. So plenty of time, but send us your bracket, and we'll be happy to let everybody know what you picked.
Yeah.
And if you're local and you want to stop in, just let me know. We come in, you can bring your bracket. We'll talk about your bracket. So, a couple other things I wanted to talk to real quick. First of all, locally, congratulations, University of Maryland Eastern Shore in Somerset County.
right,
Both their men and women are in, as we speak, in the semifinal of the MEAC tournament, and that's great
right.
news.
That's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yeah, that is. They've
That's fabulous.
they haven't always been in that hierarchy of the MEAC,
Right.
but it's good to see that they're both playing for a chance
Yeah, they're
to
playing today.
be MEAC champions.
I know the men are playing today.
Yeah, women are too. And they're both playing Howard.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Congratulations and a shout out to the men's and women's
Absolutely.
program at UMES.
Yeah.
I know the women's coach, Fred Batchelor. Great guy.
Yeah.
Good coach.
Yeah.
So wish him the best of luck with that.
Yeah. Great.
Um,
Good luck to them.
And then a couple of things I wanted to talk about this. North Carolina. Now, I've been a North Carolina fan for a long time. Then I happened to stumble upon this young coach at Duke, who I found intriguing and became a Duke fan. Always North Carolina in the back of my,
Right.
And I had a guy who's like, "Oh, you can't like them both. You
Yeah.
can. You just root for one a little bit harder."
Right.
It's like I don't have any animus against either.
Right.
Like other people do. Oh, I hate them. I hate them. But they had a weird year. They
Oh, yeah.
started the year number one,
Right.
like preseason number one. They had I think 4 starters back
Right.
from that semifinal team last year,
Right.
and they may not make the tournament.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, like they
UVA
don't.
beat them the other night.
They had to knock them out.
Yep.
And I don't get all this quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, whatever that stuff is.
Right.
Apparently, they don't have a lot of quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing teams that are higher ranked
Right.
or
higher
winning
ranked teams,
records
yeah.
or however you
All
look
that
at
stuff. Yeah.
it. And I just thought that's the kind of year it's been.
Yeah.
When we're talking about blue bloods,
There was an
not
interesting,
being high.
and there was an interesting analysis I happened to be watching last night about this very subject, and they said if you take last year's regular season and this year's regular season, and not the tournament last year,
Yeah,
that not such a great performance by Carolina's
yeah.
team.
They made a big run
And
last year.
that
At the
they
end.
got hot at the
Yeah.
right time,
Yeah.
and their players may have played above their level a little
Yeah.
bit. And this is what I'm finding with all the games that I'm following now, is these predictions that seem very logical and very, okay, they're favored by 10 and they can't lose and da-da-da-da. And then they're in a firestorm of a last second to battle of 3-pointers against a team who's 9-22. How did they get 22 losses if they can shoot 3 points,
Yeah,
10 in a row?
Yeah.
But it happens, and that's the athlete in these kids that, you just get on a run and there's no explaining it. And somehow I guess they were able to sustain it over that couple of weeks
Yeah.
and got maybe a lot further than they should have, quote unquote, last year. And it kind of came out in the wash with the regular season this year,
Yeah.
where they just couldn't get much going. And I thought they would beat Virginia, but I don't really. I saw Virginia a couple times, and I know they're good, but I thought maybe they could be beat. But they played well, and they shot real well.
And
So
that's a team that I don't know how Tony Bennett does. Good coach.
yeah,
Good coach.
gets a lot out of his players.
I must say, a Wisconsin guy.
Oh, okay. You're so biased.
I throw that in where I can. You know, his dad was a coach at Wisconsin for a while.
Okay.
And in college. And his uncle was a great high school coach, and I think coached in college. But here's the guy who gets a team, they're a number 1 seed and they lose to a 16.
Yeah, that's right.
You would think that would
Right.
crush a lot of people.
Right.
And then he comes back a year or two later and wins
Next
the whole
year.
thing. The next year, was it?
Next year.
Wins the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, good coach. Again, their point guard is good.
Is he? Yeah.
And you need good point guard play
This time of the
this
year.
time of year.
Got to have a floor general, as they
Yeah.
call him.
Yeah.
Go-to guy. for
But
sure.
that Virginia team is sneaky good.
Yeah.
They're not gonna.
Yeah.
There's not one guy who is like the guy and you know
Yeah.
a high draft
Well, they just
pick.
play system basketball, and
He's-
they're not flashy, and
Yeah.
they run plays,
Yeah.
and they work on timing
Good
and
defense. And,
defense, and you know, sometimes old school basketball still wins. You know,
I agree with that.
It's not just
Yeah.
run up and down the court and fling it up as soon as you get across half court.
yeah,
So that's the part of the reason it's fun to watch,
right.
is to see how these teams do play and what their strengths are.
And all right, I know we talked before off camera a little bit about your passion for
What?
watching these small schools.
What? Oh, the small
we're,
schools.
We're not going there.
Oh yeah,
no, we're
okay,
not going
good.
there.
Yeah, the small schools. They're,
You like watching some of these smaller
they're an
conferences.
interesting watch. Yeah.
Is there anybody you've seen that kind of impresses you?
Well,
or you just
they-
like the way
They
they
all
play?
impress me to the point that, having grown up watching a lot of basketball in the 70s as a teenager, because I was in high school and I was really interested in the ACC primarily, because that's what we were watching back in those days. Those were big time programs, big time schools. They had all the best players. Yet now you watch these small schools and they have some of these really impressive looking teams that you think, wow, they're as good as a lot of those teams I grew up watching, and just the sheer number of great talented players that can shoot these threes. They just post up and they get it and they bury it, and so the expectation is so much higher now, even at the small school level, for dramatic finishes and these long shots to make the points at the very last second, and they come through. That's the thing, and that's what's most exciting.
Yeah.
And it's these small arenas, and there's 2,000 people watching, and I'm watching on the ESPN Extra channel, the Plus channel, and man, you can watch them all. I swear you can watch every one of them. Not that I have, but I've watched a lot of them, and check in on some. And but can they take it? And historically, size. It's not speed, because most of them are fast enough.
Yeah.
But it's the size and the rebounding and just the sheer talent level is that much, a little bit more at the bigger school level. And so, but they can come in, like the school Drake. That's one of the ones I'm following.
Yeah.
And they've been on a run. I think they're undefeated they've won a lot of games in the last month and a half. And I'm curious, I don't even think they're in their tournament yet. So I'm kind of curious. Hopefully they do well in that. But I'd like to see them win their conference and get the automatic bid and be a 16 seed or a 15 seed or whatever they would end up, and go up against one of these schools and to give them a shocker. That's
the best part about the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Is
the shock
first
value, the
that
first
Thursday,
round.
Friday
Yeah, those
upsets.
are the best.
Those are the best, and we all get to pick them.
Yeah,
and
it
take a
becomes
shot.
just, that's why you don't know, and
Yeah.
there's no predicting it. Again, for the same reason, you might have a team like Drake that shoots 70%. There was a team that shot 70% from 3 points last night. I looked at it, I said 70% from 3-point range,
Yeah,
and I mean, that's just unheard of.
yeah.
How do you do that? So they're winning, they're beating a team that they were not supposed to even be in the same place with, and that's sports. That's why we love it, because it's so
Yeah.
unpredictable. So
And speaking of,
we'll
I'm
see.
sorry to
No,
cut
no,
you off.
no, we'll see.
Speaking of smaller schools,
Mm-hmm.
guys who can shoot,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you heard this or not,
Mm-mm.
the challenge to Pete Maravich's scoring.
Oh yeah, yeah. That guy
This-
from Detroit Mercy.
Detroit Mercy, Antoine
Yeah.
Davis.
How about that? I took that out of nowhere.
Finished
See,
very good.
I proved I'm watching.
You're watching this. To me, Pete Maravich is, as a kid,
Oh, he was.
I watched his Pete
Unbelievable.
Maravich's videos.
Yeah.
The guy was, you know,
He was ahead of his time.
just ahead of his time. Just he started all this.
Flashy kind of play. but he
Behind the
backed it
back.
up, man.
I'm sure there were other people who did it before him.
Yeah.
He had to see it somewhere. But he was the first guy that I remember, him and a guy by the name of Dean Meminger from Marquette,
I remember. Man.
who were, yeah, that's
I remember that name.
that's that Al McGuire shout out.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Again, Wisconsin people. What
Right.
can I say?
Right.
But, like he used to Dean used to dribble between his legs and stuff. Maravich behind the back passes,
Oh,
the fakes,
Yep.
and fake one way, pass it the other way, the no look stuff.
Smooth.
Yeah, he plays 3 years
Mm-hmm.
because
They'd allow freshmen to
freshmen
play
couldn't
back
play
in those
back then.
days. Yeah.
So now Antoine Davis comes along, and I'm not going to disparage this kid. He's probably a very good shooter. I think he's the leading scorer in the NCAA this year, with 28 points a game, I think.
Right.
But he's playing 5 years because he got a COVID year. The one they gave everybody a year
Right.
during the COVID
Got
season.
an extra season.
So he's done it in 5. He finished 3 points short.
Mm.
They're 14 and 18. And here's the question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
They're not going to they were knocked out of their tournament. They're not going to the NCAAs.
Okay.
They don't have a 500 or better record.
Right.
They're not going to the NIT.
Right.
There's another tournament after
No.
those two. Everybody knows NCAA and NIT.
That stops there for me.
Yeah, well, for most people it does. College Basketball Invitational Tournament, where you pay to go to this tournament. So the school would have to pay, I think I saw it was,
Entry fee.
yes, $27,500
Really?
to go and play. Do you, oh, by the way,
Those points don't count.
his dad is the coach.
Well, right.
So now, your son is 4 points away from breaking the record.
Okay.
All-time leading scorer in the history of the NCAA.
Wow.
Do you go, son? We're going to this tournament. Do you play? Do you go to it? Or don't you? Do you go? Look, you gave it a shot. You did the best you could. But we're not gonna. Do you challenge Pete Maravich's record?
But is it a challenge? I mean, is it a true challenge?
Well, there's always going to be an asterisk by his name because he
But I
had
mean, being
5 years.
outside of the invitational tournaments, in terms like the NC2A qualifying tournament and then the NIT, you
Yeah.
have to qualify for that. I guess it's an invitational because they pick the people. But,
Right.
But this tournament sounds like it's any sort of like summer league tournament that
Well-
you pay money to go to.
And I think there used to be another one also.
Yeah.
There used to be 2, and I don't know if there's still 2
Huh.
of these small tournaments. Like you
Yeah.
don't make the NCAAs, you don't
I
go to
don't.
the
Well,
NIT.
if the sole purpose would be to go break the record and go to this tournament, then I think he's doing a disservice to his son, or to himself.
And to the
Because
record itself.
it'll get the wrong kind of press.
Yeah.
It'll be a conversation like we're having, a negative thing. The kid should be lauded for his
You
accomplishments.
finished second.
He finished second and did
You
a
know-
thing that has only been achieved in 3 years, by the way. And he
Yeah.
knows it's 3 years
Yeah.
versus the game and the number of games. And and so on. And you know, total points per game, you could kind of figure it out. Maravich was on a whole other level.
Yeah.
And just because you play more games, does it mean? Well, it goes right back to trying to quantify and compare any of the sports
Right.
now versus days gone by.
Yeah.
14-game schedule in
Football,
NFL.
yeah.
And now 17.
But I guess all those
schedule.
records count. You know.
But they all seem to blend together.
Yeah.
No asterisks, as they
Like
say.
there's no asterisk above running backs
So
above Jim Brown.
does he lay
who played
claim to it?
12
I just
yeah.
don't know how the NC2A or the record keepers, or whoever's in charge of that, would qualify this buy-in tournament as legitimate points.
I guess it's
Maybe if they are
sanctioned
then,
somehow.
If they are, then it will be in the record book
Yeah.
that he scored, whatever more points or the most points. So
I say
if that
go
brings
to
him
it.
anything positive,
Yeah.
I would say go for it. If it's
And-
really going to cause more strife than positive, I would give it a second thought.
And as a team, do you go, well, he's just doing this for his kid now? At this point, it's just for his son.
And there
And,
could be some motivation
You
there.
know,
And
or there
whether
could be some resentment, like
There could be, sure.
he's just doing this so
Right.
his son.
Does the
gets
team
home.
really want to play more
Yeah.
basketball?
Even 14 and 18
Is it up to the
every
team?
year.
I would leave it up to the team.
Yeah, but anyway, I just think
Interesting scenario. I didn't
Yeah.
realize all that was going on.
Yeah, there's a lot involved with that. I don't want to see it broke. I think
Yeah, well,
Pete Maravich wasn't.
that's a long time
When he
ago.
played, that was a class
it's surprising that hasn't happened.
Yeah,
But I guess with all the one and done years
Yeah.
that have gone by, that all these
Yeah.
great talents don't stick around long enough to even put 2 years together, much less 3,
Yeah.
and much less 4, because that changed the whole scope of things
Right.
as well when they allowed the freshmen to come in and play. So
yeah, and also no 3-point line or
and
or
3-point
shot
line.
clock
That's right.
when Maravich played,
That's
and
right.
he shot deep.
Right.
If he could have played,
Well, it goes, jumping off the rail here to the NBA, LeBron passed Lou Alcindor / Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but how many 3-point baskets
Right.
did Jabbar have?
one.
One.
I think he
And
took one.
You think
Made
how many
one.
that LeBron has had, and it puts it in a different
Yeah.
light. And that's why the comparison of these kinds of records, it's just for, if we had a beer here, it's just like,
Yeah.
give you a reason to have another beer and yell at each other. It doesn't really have any merit. It doesn't really have any merit. These players are great. They
Yeah.
did great things.
Yeah.
They're in record books.
Great player.
and-
I'm sure he's a
and-
great player. 6'1" or 6'2" guard.
And if
You
he
know,
can take
good
it
luck
to
if he can
the
move
next
on.
level, and if
Yeah.
he wants to be a pro and
Yeah.
all that, 6'1", could be tough transition to the NBA.
Yeah.
So if he can bury that three
can
from,
shoot, though.
from 28 feet,
Yeah.
because that's about how far now you got to shoot it from
The
on
logo.
average.
logo.
It's low. I mean, it's far outside where it used to be. To
Yeah.
shoot these buckets, but for a 6'1" guy, he's got to have that
That
ability.
shot, yeah. And then finally some goodbyes.
Oh no.
I mentioned Mike Bray leaving Notre Dame. I think he said he still wants to coach.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to step away from Notre Dame. Why you would ever want to step away from Notre Dame, I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's just something about saying Notre Dame
Yeah.
is kind of makes anything special.
Well, the football coach did recently.
Well, yeah,
So, but he got more
because he
money.
didn't think he could win.
Well,
He-
yeah.
Yeah,
And
just
like-
because of the setup of the school.
Yeah.
So
Just like anything, there's a certain personality type that probably is best for those kinds of coaching jobs.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't always work out.
yeah,
And you move on, and then maybe you get the right guy next. You just,
Patrick Ewing done at Georgetown.
I heard that.
I hate to see it.
Yeah.
Because as a player, he was an incredible talent in college at Georgetown
Amazing.
and in the NBA.
Hmm.
And then worked really hard as an assistant coach in the NBA.
Yep.
Never got a shot at a head coaching NBA job.
Right.
Went back to his alma mater. I respect people who do that. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty cool
Yeah.
that they want to go back to where they were.
Sure.
And
Well, he wanted to be involved. He wanted to help the kids. He wanted
Yeah.
to be part of the game still as
Yeah.
on the court. And is it that he couldn't get away from it, or that he really had a passion to help. And I believe he
Yeah.
had the passion.
Yeah,
But maybe the recruiting side of it wasn't as
Wasn't
easy
there.
as he
Yeah.
might have thought, or he
Yeah.
just wasn't able to present the reason to go to a school that it's really hard to graduate from. You got to have
Yeah.
a lot of smarts to,
Yeah.
to get through.
yeah.
And I mean, nothing against that, but it's hard to compete in this sports world when
Yeah.
you're a high academic functioning facility.
Yeah,
And those kids that have the ability to soar and dunk and also go to class and do all those things, it's a tough
It's a
combo.
tough- yeah,
And you look at the schools of Georgetown's level of academia, and not too many of them are up there on a regular
Right.
basis.
Yeah.
They'll sneak in once in a while.
Yeah.
Like Stanford, my alma mater, yes, I went to Stanford, snuck into the Final Four a number of years ago now. It surprised the heck out of me because I never thought it would be possible for them to get that
Yeah.
far.
yet the women's team,
And the women's team,
under Tara Vanderbilt,
yeah, oh my goodness, they played
she
great.
always had them up there.
Great, yeah.
So,
So you just, I don't know. Patrick Ewing was one of those unique kind of combinations of height and ability
Yeah.
and determination and grit, and just his sheer size and ability to work the underside of a basket on both ends of the floor
yeah,
made him legendary.
yeah,
Now, yeah, you can tell stories all about that all your life. Hey, we used to do it this way, or we used to do it that way. Maybe his approach wasn't modern enough for the style that
yeah,
that
the
needs
kids
to be
want to play.
played.
Yeah,
He did have a run there because I can tell you some sad stories on my end, but where Georgetown was supposed to lose, and
Yeah.
they had a couple games where they surprised or
Well,
got closer than they should
a
have.
couple years ago,
So-
they won the Big East tournament
Yeah,
under him.
That's
They
right.
had a run
that's
that
right.
that propelled them. But
That's right. Be interesting to see who the school hires
yeah.
now.
And then another interesting, we'll talk about a guy who never left home, was Jim Boeheim.
Yeah,
And this
he did. He just stepped down. I heard. Is that right?
stepped down,
Retired?
pushed.
Pushed out?
I don't know. It was really weird.
Oh.
All the media accounts I saw, the school was just said he's no longer the coach.
Mm.
Adrian Autry's our new coach. Boeheim, I guess today when they introduced Autry, today he was a little more. I'm retiring. The school is.
Yeah.
A lot of good things about the school. He was there 47 years. He was a walk-on player. Then he was an assistant coach,
Mm.
and then he
A
was the
lifer.
head coach.
A lifer.
47 years,
True lifer
in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
which in this time of year is probably still under a heavy blanket of snow
Oh, yeah.
and cold.
Yeah.
And I think he really put that school on the map.
Yeah.
Even though you could say Jim Brown probably first placed it on the map.
Yeah. Well,
But
the continued success of the basketball program has
what he's done in
put them on the
47
map
years.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And it's sad to see him leave. Like
Yeah.
he didn't get the fanfare that Krzyzewski got.
No.
And now I don't know if he wanted that or not.
Yeah.
But he
47.
he was a good coach. I have to admit.
Yeah.
My wife's family's from Central New York.
Yeah.
Die-hard Syracuse.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have quite a few thoughts on this, but I haven't talked to him yet.
Yeah.
But it's sad when you see legends leave.
Well, it is.
And you just wonder, are they still going to play that 2-3 zone next year?
Yeah.
Because
You know what's coming.
the guy who they named coach was his assistant
Yeah.
for I want to say 12 years.
Yeah.
He was on the bench. So,
Well, good luck to
yeah,
him.
good luck to them
He
all.
enjoys the rest of his retirement days.
Yes. So that's it. That's our college basketball kind of before the tournament.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it in a couple of weeks. We will bring our brackets out here and we'll let everybody know how you're doing. Again, if you want to join us, how do they join the golf course?
It's not quite up
Okay.
yet. There's going to be a link. Is it on the? Well, it's going to be through email. So we need to get your email, and then you can sign up through the email for the bracket contest. And the winners are going to get free rounds of golf and
I like that.
And if it's a member, they're going to get a free cart or two. So there'll be something at the end for them, for that person who scored the highest number of points. And so hopefully we get enough entries that it's worthwhile putting it all together.
There you
So
go.
it's a brand new thing, so we're trying new things to generate some interest.
And again, if you want to send me your bracket or you want me to relay your email to
Yeah.
Jack, you can email me at ghicks@somersetmd.us. And we'll,
Do you have a pick?
right now, before I've really
Throw
sat
it out
down,
there without even thinking about it. Based on what you know right now, what do you think? I know it's not a fair question, but
I would, because I'm looking, Kansas is playing well right now. I
Houston's been winning a
don't
lot.
know.
They're ranked
Houston,
number one.
I would,
Can they go the distance?
I don't know, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's, right now, UCLA is playing well.
UCLA's a good one.
It just depends on what the matchup is. Alabama,
They could be tough, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. What we got? Texas is playing well. I liked Arizona early on out in the West.
Yeah.
I saw them play a little bit. They were good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you never know when a school.
Connecticut can put it all together.
That's my team.
And win
That's
a
my
few.
pick.
Yeah.
UConn.
Yeah, I would probably have to go.
UConn. Mark my words, it'll be there.
My heart says Duke, which always
I hear
says
you.
Duke.
And that would be one of the ones that I would slide in as a
But
sleeper on my side.
If Houston gets a good matchup,
Yeah.
a bracket which some deem as easier, I would think Houston.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough.
But that's not a guarantee right now.
No,
That's-
there's no guarantees.
Early
I just
on.
thought we'd throw
Yeah.
it out there 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah, they could.
and see, maybe we get it right.
Yeah. So, all right. Again, if you have anything you want to say, just send me an email. If you want to be a part of our show,
Sure.
send me an email.
It's time for you to come down and be
It's
part
time.
of our show.
It is. And a couple other things real quick, as far as what we're doing at Rec and Parks here. It's Little Sluggers T-Ball. It's almost baseball time. We'll talk about baseball coming up soon. And the registration is due by April 3rd for that.
Nice.
And it's also girls rec softball. And again, that registration is due by March 27th. So there's two good programs. Get your kids out, get them playing. We've got a lot of green space out here. Come on out and visit us at the Rec and Parks Department. Got this beautiful golf course. We've got some new pickleball, basketball courts throughout the county. If you don't know where they are, give us a call. And again, if you're interested, I should give you the number here. For the sign-ups, you can call it 410-651-4980, or you can stop in, or you can visit us at placesomersetmd.com. And also, if you get a chance, stop by. Our tourism visitors guide is out. Pick one of these up. You can get one here at the golf course. You can get it at our office. You can get them at the tourism office, at the rest stop. A lot of good things to do. They're all here in this brochure. A lot of good things in Somerset County. Stop in, pick one up, and
Excellent.
go somewhere you haven't been before. You're going to get a great experience.
There you go.
So
Come
until-
play some golf, and we'll tell you where I'll go after that.
There you go. Especially great eating places in this
Yeah.
county. So,
I just found out April 7th is National Beer Day.
Well, I gotta mark that on my calendar.
I don't know that I can come to work. I might have to take that day
Oh,
off.
is that a Saturday?
It's a Friday and it has to be Good Friday.
Oh,
Now
that's-
think about that. I think
yes.
someone messed up that whole
It's one
situation.
either or.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
one of
sorry
those.
for that.
All right, until next time, go out and have fun.
Have fun. Talk to you guys later.